You guys thought we were done with basketball. I know in a previous show we said we're pretty much done talking about basketball, but we got a couple more segments left. Today we brought in our All-Area Coach of the Year and our All-Area MVP for the boys basketball team. That's Tom Mott and JoJo Walker, both from St. Joseph High School. So guys, thanks for coming in. First off, we're sure you guys are busy and all that, and so far after the season, I know you guys probably are tired of talking to us and tired of talking basketball, but we appreciate you guys coming in. So first off, Tom, I think it was a pretty easy pick to select you as All-Area Coach of the Year. Expectations were high coming into the season, but you guys, blew those expectations out of the water, with 28-game win streak, 29-game win streak, winning a CIF Southern Section Championship, making a nice run in the state playoffs. So how's it feel to get that recognition, being Coach of the Year? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it obviously feels great because, there's a lot of great coaches in this area, and, we all coach, because of the kids on our team that we, form relationships with. And, I was lucky this year to have some great senior leadership and some great juniors that made my job really easy this year.
How would you kind of describe coaching this team this year? Was it difficult? Was it an easy group to coach with so much talent, so much experience? A guy like JoJo, Gabrice, a senior like that, Christian Rubalcaba, even a guy like Matthew Gonzalez, a lot of senior leadership. Was it an easy group, or was it kind of difficult, working with those expectations and having so much talent? How would you kind of sum up the?
Well, plain and simple, is the easiest year I've had as a coach. Yeah, we had huge expectations. But when you have great leaders, the kids did a great job, and our biggest thing was staying focused this year and not getting complacent. We had some great winning streaks where we were, blowing teams out, and it's easy to come the next day and practice and take a practice off. But we probably had about 10 minutes this year of bad practice time, which when you look back over the course of 60 or 70 practices, that's pretty good. So that's the kids all bought in. The coaching staff had great assistant coaches, and everybody, I think if you ask anybody, they said it was an easy year all the way around.
Okay. Saying that, looking back, is there anything as a coach that you wish you could have done differently? In the state playoff game, I'm sure you guys were prepared. How do you feel about the way the season ended? Is there anything you kind of learned from everything that kind of happened this season that'll help you next season?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a loss, you're trying to figure out why you lost. This year we were lucky to only have 4 losses. 3 of them were up in Mission, 2 in their tournament, 1 against them in the regular season. And, we look back at those 3 games and what we could have done differently. And you can always, what ifs. The state game, we just had a bad first half where we didn't make shots, and they went on about 11 or 12-0 run. And, that's basketball for you. And, when you look back over 35 games to only have, 4 times when you're second-guessing yourself, we look at that as a pretty successful season.
All right. And real quick on JoJo, what's it like to coach a player like that? Immensely talented player. What's your kind of philosophy to coach a guy like JoJo?
JoJo, obviously he's a great player, and that's why he won the award. But the thing that JoJo does is he is very humble. He makes his teammates better. And I mean, you look at, he averaged 18 points a game this year, and he could have easily averaged 25 to 30. But he knew that his job was to keep his teammates happy, share the basketball, and be a leader. And as a junior, he did a great job, and we can't wait to see what he does next year.
All right, JoJo. So playing this year, all the recognition you received, all the games that you've played, I'm just curious kind of your major takeaway from the experience of all these months playing with St. Joseph, this version of St. Joseph, and the recognition you and your team received.
Well, first of all, I'm really glad that I had a coach like Coach Mott, because I learned a lot, and he taught me not to play for yourself or play for your team, and that. And he says, that's not a team, it's like a family. So
you guys won several titles together. You won a league title together. You won shared a Pac-8 league title. You won a section title. You guys make a deep run in the state tournament. So a lot of great games, a lot of great moments on the court together. Any kind of stand out to you?
Well, for me, I think one of the best games for us was when we played Righetti the first game. I only had 7 points, and I didn't play that much, but it doesn't mean my team did great. Christian Rubalcaba had his best game, and it makes me really happy that I only scored 7 points and we still did great.
So, Coach, when you lose so many seniors, is that something you've ever kind of experienced before and had to build a team after losing so many leaders? And with juniors like JoJo coming back, how is it going to be different for them building a team?
Yeah, the thing that we lost is, our inside guys and some depth. Obviously, we have our two starting guards are both back, and they're both all-CIF guys. And then we had some other juniors that didn't play very much that are really good players that I think are really going to come out next year and surprise some people with how good they are. So, yeah, we lost a lot, but at the end of each season, you always look forward to working with the new guys that are coming in. Some JV guys coming up and seeing, the bar's been set high, and we want to see, if those new guys can keep that bar at the level that we want to keep it at.
And JoJo, about that, what do you view your role on the team any differently with so much change, or how do you look at it?
No, like Coach said, I always try to make my team better, and I don't try to look for myself. I look for them, and it's going to be the same.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting what you said. In that Righetti game, you just scored 7 points, and that was like the highlight of your season.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from with you kind of just wanting to see your teammates succeed and not worrying about your stats? You're able to fill up the stat sheet, points-wise. Where does that come from with you, just wanting to see your teammates succeed?
Well, it's basketball. Sometimes you come to the game and you can't make anything, but having a team like the one I had, it was amazing watching them just do great without me. Yeah.
One of the guys that I thought really stepped up this year was Scotty Macbeth. He was a great role player as a sophomore. What do you think about his development? Being a junior, I think he was the third leading scorer on the team. Had some huge games, 20-point games. What was it like to see Scotty kind of develop and really step up this year?
Well, it was great because last year he didn't have a lot of dribble and stuff, and this year he got way better and got better at shooting and stuff. And I was just trying to look for him when I attacked the rim or something. So yeah, it was great watching him just get better.
Yeah, so it seemed like he might have taken a little from your game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you try to help a teammate with that stuff, with the specific, attacking moves, attacking philosophy? How do you kind of help your teammates out?
Well, I don't know. If I see him open, I'm gonna give it to him. Okay. If that's his fault if he doesn't make it. So.
Okay.
And they eat lunch together, so I think Scott reminds Joe at lunch every day that he needs to pass him the ball.
Okay. Yeah. Naturally, moving into that, one NBA player, I guess, who always gets made fun of for not passing the ball enough is Kobe Bryant, and this week is his last game. Tom, a guy who's played 20 years in the NBA, Kobe Bryant. How do you feel about seeing his career come to a close? You got any thoughts on Kobe's last game?
Yeah, it's when you look back over the last 20 years, Kobe's a guy that I've watched a lot of basketball from, and he's had some incredible moments. And I think every kid, or 90% of the kids, grow up emulating some of his moves out there on the court. And I'm a little too old to be doing what he does, but I think it's sad. It's sad to see a legend go. I remember when Jordan retired, and Kobe's kind of the next guy in the hierarchy that's ending his career. So it'll be a sad moment at Staples Center on Wednesday night, but lots of great memories about Kobe.
Yeah, JoJo, how do you feel about that? This guy Kobe was in the NBA and before you were even born. Mm-hmm. You like Kobe as a player? What's your thoughts on Kobe in his last game?
Well, being honest with you guys, I don't like Kobe that much, but Kobe's a great player. You have to respect him for all the things he did, and I don't like him, but he did a great job.
Okay.
Well, what don't you like about Kobe, or who's a player that you prefer
who's
at
your
the
guy?
NBA level? You like any of those guys, or you focus on kind of your own thing?
My guy is LeBron James.
LeBron James, all right.
Yep. And Russell Westbrook. That's
Russell
it.
Westbrook. All right.
All right.
And moving on, Coach Mott said earlier that the next 2 weeks are huge for you as far as college goes. What's that situation looking like? Are you thinking about recruiting? Are you just focused on playing club ball? What do you think the future holds for you these next couple weeks and months? What are you focused on?
Well, I'm just trying to take it step by step, not trying to think about anything. So this weekend I have a tournament in New York, and I'll play 2 games over there, see how it goes.
Yeah, I know playing AAU ball, especially going around the country, the competition definitely steps up. How do you feel you compete with those guys? You fit in with them? Can you hold your own? Do you what's your philosophy playing at that type of level, playing at the AAU kind of level?
Well, it's the same game. It's basketball. It's just different people. I just play like I always play, and yeah.
Okay. One more thing. How do you feel about being All-Area MVP? I think the last 2 years it was Cam Walker from Righetti. A lot of great players have been selected as All-Area MVP. Do you feel that's a cool honor? Do you feel like you were worthy? How do you feel about being MVP of the All-Area?
Well, it feels amazing just to see like my work, like all the work I put in with my coaches and stuff, like paid off. So it feels amazing just to see like all that work paid off.
All right, Tom and JoJo, we really appreciate you guys coming in. Again, you're busy guys, so we appreciate it. This year was great to watch you guys. Congratulations on everything. Can't wait till next year, and good luck over the summer. And Tom, thanks for everything you do, working with the media and all that stuff. We appreciate it. Our all-area package will be out Sunday in the Santa Maria Times and Lompoc Record. So if you want to see who made the all-area team, make sure to check that out. There's our Coach of the Year, Tom Mott, all-area MVP, JoJo Walker.
Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name is Kenny Cress. I am a sports writer with the Santa Maria Times, and we are very fortunate to have with us Desiree Domingues. She was a former Righetti standout, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year before she graduated in 2008. This year, Desiree guided the Warriors to a share of the Pac-8 title and their first time in the playoffs in quite a while. I believe since 2012.
Yes, a couple years.
And they went to the semifinals. Desiree said that when she started coaching, she was very excited. The team seemed very enthusiastic. Desiree, can you talk a little bit about what kind of time you had for the team and the mindset going in?
Well, I was the varsity assistant coach last season, so I was familiar with the girls, but I ended up only having about 5 returners from the previous year, and but they knew my style of play, and the younger girls that I had brought up, I had coached them. I was the freshman coach 2 years ago, so as the head coach for varsity, I didn't have a whole bunch of time with them. I had the summer and then preseason, but it was just enough time, and with the success that we had, I would probably give it to the girls, because it's like we had every position that we needed to be successful was filled, and they had great chemistry, and all the girls really got along really well and worked really hard.
Now, you had a very deep bench. In fact, you said you felt very fortunate. You thought many times this year you could have 2 starting fives. Did you figure you'd be, I know you were optimistic going in, but did you figure you'd be that deep when the season started?
No, I didn't think that we would have that much depth at all. I think that was one of the things that I struggled the most with, was trying to figure out who was going to start each game, because I probably had about 8 or 9 girls that deserved a starting spot. And so I had to tell the girls, it doesn't matter who starts, because they all play a very significant role on the team. I have 5 solid post players, and then I have Danita, who plays post, guard, shooting guard. I would say the only position where we were a little limited was at the point guard spot. I have 2 point guards on the team, but for a while I had 1, and then I had brought another one up from JV. So that was probably the only position where we were a little limited.
Now you will have both of those players back with you next year?
Yeah.
So that will give them some time to develop some more.
Yes, absolutely. I'll have 10 returners out of the 13.
Now, could you talk some about your assistant coach? I know assistant coaches, often they're unsung. You said you were very fortunate with the one you have this year. Could you talk about the role she played? Well,
Natalie, I used to play basketball with her actually when we were in high school together. We played varsity at Righetti. And so we've been friends for a long time. And she's been coaching in the program for I think about 6 years. And she just cares about the girls just as much as I do. And, our personalities really mesh with each other. She helps me out, doing the little things. She keeps track of fouls. whenever a player subs out of the game, she'll go and sit next to them and talk to them and, tell them what they need to work on. When I yell at the girls, she goes and she plays that role, where she's the good
kind
one,
of the soft shoulder to cry on.
And so we work really well together. And she always gives me really good suggestions, and I really feel like we work so well together. I just think that we always talk about it. We want to coach until we're old. So I'm hoping that'll happen.
Now, you were a 3-time defensive player. What was then the Pac-7? Being a 3-time defensive player, any leagues, not hard to do. Did you felt that the team usually met your high standards when it came to defense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that anybody that has seen me play, they always tell me that my current team reflects, their style reflects my personality as a player. I was always very aggressive, and I would push the ball up the floor, and I was always diving on the ground for loose balls and full court press. And that's what I believe in. That's the type of style that I like to play, and that's the kind of style that I try and teach the girls. And I think that that's probably the hardest thing to do, is to teach defense. But that's what we worked on, and the girls did a great job.
I know you often like to mix up your defenses, and I think you had said a few times throughout the year that the team was adept at that, and that made it all better.
Yeah, we would. One thing that I learned actually halfway through this season was we do a better job starting out in a full court press, because our girls were kind of starting out a little slow, but if I make them start out in the full court press, then they have more energy. And I want to mix up the press into a zone press next year maybe, and just change up the defense and have the girls work on, different ways that we can pressure the ball and kind of rattle the offense.
Though you were on some very good Righetti teams, in fact, I know, I believe it was your sophomore year that you won the league championship, but you'd mentioned somewhat sadly that you weren't able to get out of the second round yet. This team made it to the semifinals. Did your players ever point that out to you, or was that a motivating factor for them?
I told them that they're doing something right now that I wasn't able to do as a player. And it was so crazy because we got to bye the first round. And I told the girls, I'm like, you guys have already gotten farther than I did when I was in high school. And I was like, and we haven't even played a game yet, So it was really cool, but it was kind of like we were doing well, and then it just kind of kept going, and we were surprising ourselves too. So
how did you feel about that bye? And teams don't always profit from having a bye.
I wasn't expecting it, and all the coaches that I had talked to that were experienced with CIF, they were like, no, you guys probably aren't going to get a bye. But I just kept checking the updates, and as soon as I saw it, I thought it was a mistake. Usually they take the top 3 teams. I think we were the number 4
You were the number 4 seed.
Yeah. So, but we got lucky. I don't know why they gave us a bye, but they did, and so it kind of made our job a little bit easier. But at the same time, when we went into the second round, the girls, we had a week of practice, and their nerves just really built up. And everybody, all the other teams had already played the first round, and we were, that was the second round was our first game. So the girls were very nervous, and I was nervous too.
It seems to be a trademark of me, is when she gets rolling, it seems that the rest of your team gets rolling. That seemed to be what happened against Talkwitz when you started pulling away, was when she really seemed to start hitting the most shots and making the most plays on defense.
Yeah, she, one of the things that I like to do with Danita, when she starts to, gain that momentum, I'll have her guard the inbounder, because she'll and she'll get the tips and the blocks, and she'll get steals, and she'll start putting the ball in the basket, and just her presence on the floor, she brings a lot of energy, and the girls feed off of it.
Danita seems pretty long, and that seems to throw some of the other team's offensive players off. I know that's an asset for her.
Yeah, and she's athletic. She's fast. So it's like, it's not that she's just tall, but she's fast and she can dribble. So it's like, she's a very well-rounded player.
Now, it's only April. When do you think you'll probably start getting into the off-season program with your team?
We are actually going to start our first workout tonight. We're going to get in the gym, and we're just going to get some shots up. Shoot around, work on ball handling. I think Christina Santiago might come by and work with my post.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, she did that occasionally whenever she had had an opportunity to, because she's in town. So, you know, I always tell her, come in and work with my bigs, because that's probably one of the things that, you know, I'm a little bit less knowledgeable about. So I always try and get, you know, my friends that are post players to come in and help out.
I know you do face the loss of 2 very significant players, 2 all-area second teamers, and Courtney Barba was a first-team all-Pac-8 player. Do you have in mind the players to replace them yet, or are you just going to see what develops?
You know, I think the thing that we're going to miss the most from those girls is their defensive intensity, because both of them full court pressed and they pressured the ball. So I'm expecting that, you know, one of my point guards, Maya Armenta, I'm expecting her to full court press and take on that role, and Mariah Vargas too. You know, I'm expecting that they're going to jump right in there and be able to, you know, pressure the ball just like Courtney and Nikayla did.
Maya was one of your quicker defenders last year, wasn't
Yes.
she? I know Nikayla was about your quickest defender, but it seemed that Maya also. So that'll be an
Yes.
asset having her.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited.
Any thoughts about the league next year? Do you think it'll be pretty balanced?
Yeah. You know, one thing that I have been thinking about is, you know, Mission Prep, their point guard was really good, but she's graduating, and, you know, Ashlyn from AG is graduating. So, you know, a lot of their solid players from each of the teams are leaving, but I'm like, you know, I'm pretty lucky because I still have, you know, my core group of girls. But, you know, seeing the JV teams and, you know, in the league, they have good players too. So I don't think that it's going to change too much. I think that our league's probably going to, you know, for the most part, still be pretty even and competitive.
One thing I was going to ask you before we leave, I was really impressed with, you had said that the Mission Prep game, the second time you played them, you thought your players appeared tight. It was their senior night. They knew if they clinched, they would. I'm sorry. They knew if they won, they would clinch a share of the league title. And you thought that they looked tight. And the day of the Paso Robles game, you said that instead of reiterating that, it seemed like you almost de-emphasized the situation, told them, look, don't really focus on so much on what's at stake, just concentrate on playing the way you can play and do what you do. And the result was you won 66-22.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a coach de-emphasizing the situation paid off for you.
Yeah, I noticed, you know, with my team, they're very young, and they were so nervous for that Mission Prep game, and they're just like, you know, we have to win. And, you know, me being a young coach, I mean, like, I'm like, yeah, you know, we got to win. Then they went out there and they didn't perform like they should have. So I was like, you know, I didn't want them to think of what was at stake when we played Paso. That was the last league game. I'm like, look, you guys just go out there and play. You know, it's our last game. You know, we're already going to CIF, so it's our last game of league. Just go out there, do your job, play the defense like we've been working on, and if you guys can do that, we'll win. You know, and they did, and we had a phenomenal. That was probably the best game that we had all season. One of, I would say, the AG games were pretty good too.
Those were, yes, I'm sorry I didn't get to see those. Those were fine games to watch. Saw them. I know, probably not as fun for the coaches.
Yeah, yeah.
since you were, I know that could be pretty nerve-wracking. But again, I thought Danita hit maybe the shot of the year for you when she nailed that shot from the left corner.
Oh yeah, she did. I mean, she had a heck of a game against AG, and you know, she had well-rounded stats, rebounds, blocks, points, you know, and critical shots that we needed, you know, so it was a big win for us.
All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Desiree, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on everything you and your team accomplished. I know it was truly a memorable year and one that you'll probably never forget.
Yeah, well, hopefully next year will be the same.
All right, we're not done yet. We got one more basketball-related topic, and Wednesday night obviously was a huge night in the NBA. The Warriors go for the all-time wins record in the NBA, and it was the final game for Kobe Bryant after 20 years with the Lakers. So, Kenny, we'll start with you. My question is, what would you rather if you had a ticket for either event, what would you choose to go to? The Warriors trying to make 73 wins, first team to ever do that, or seeing Kobe Bryant play his final game in the NBA?
Oh, for me, it's a no-brainer. I'd much rather see the Warriors go for 73 wins. Obviously, Kobe Bryant will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the all-time greats, but you have a team trying to make at least regular season basketball history. Let's face it, how did we really think the Warriors would be in this position going into the I knew they were good. I didn't think they would be this good.
Yeah. My thing is just the Warriors are fun basketball. That's what it comes down to, right? When you're deciding on what to buy a ticket, unless you're a diehard Kobe fan, it comes down to I'm going to have fun. And the Warriors are fun basketball. And if I was going to watch Kobe, and Joe, I'm interested in what you kind of think. If I was going to watch Kobe, I would have rather watched him at his best. I mean, there are so many games you could probably think of that you would have wanted to have been there to watch Kobe.
Yeah, and I mean, I got a couple of thoughts on that. First off, what if Kobe plays tonight, doesn't have a very good game, off season goes, it's August, and he starts getting the itch, and he comes back. He plays with LeBron in Cleveland or something like that. All these people spend all this money to see his final game, and then he unretires, and then you're like, okay, what? If you go to the Warriors game and they win 73 tonight, you saw that. Nothing's going to change that. Kobe could change his mind over the offseason, come back and play, and you spent $3,000 on a nosebleed ticket to the Laker games to see Kobe go 3 for 24 and score 12 points in his final NBA game, but then it's actually not his final NBA game. So I would obviously want to go see the Warriors, and obviously what you said, he scored 81 points in a game. You would much rather go to a game like that. You'd much rather see him in his prime. When they beat, he didn't have a good game, but they beat the Celtics in Game 7 to win an NBA championship. But you'd obviously much rather go to a game like that. So for me, there's not much intrigue or to see Kobe's last game. I mean, yeah, it'll probably be emotional. And I'm not a Kobe fan either way, so I don't really care. Growing up in Santa Maria, every time they won a championship, you would see all the cars with Laker flags on them all over town, driving down Broadway. It made me not like the Lakers, so I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less about Kobe's last game.
Yeah,
whatever. Move along.
One thing I'll say about it is that I am not a passionate NBA fan, but you have to admit it's going to be weird. NBA, assuming, like you said, assuming he actually does retire and stay retired, it's going to be weird having an NBA season without Kobe. But the NBA's gone through that before. We've had amazing players leave, and everyone was like, there was a void. But when you have a team accomplishment with what the Warriors have put together, a real common discussion right now, and I'm curious as to your guys' point on this, does it mean anything unless the Warriors win a championship?
I would have to say, to be honest, no, not much. If they don't win a championship, the regular season record doesn't mean much. That is true. But in the now, in the present, it does mean a whole lot.
Yeah, if the Warriors do win a championship with the 73 games won during the regular season, I think, at least on paper, you would have to say that they're probably the greatest team to ever play. And, one note on that, all these people, old school players and GMs, Jerry West was saying that, Steph Curry couldn't run off screens the way he does now if he played, in the 80s or something like that. I think it's ridiculous. The game is ever increasing. The Warriors today probably can't compete with the team that's going to be around in, 2040 or something like that. The game is always improving. No team from the 80s could hang with these Warriors. It's just ridiculous to think, I mean, the league was full of players who probably couldn't even make a D1 team back in the 80s. You had a handful of elite players, but I don't think that, the Bulls could beat these Warriors or the 80 Showtime Lakers could beat these Warriors. The game's always improving. It's never going down.
That's the way it should be. The game of the 80s shouldn't be able to stack up to the...
Yeah, I will say, though, that I mean, the Bulls thing, the Bulls comparison is the most obvious one because of the record they're breaking, The idea that you have all these greats on that team and other greats saying, really what it comes down to is that the NBA is not tough anymore, is what a lot of them are saying. But think about it. If Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or Draymond Green were playing at that time, it's not like they wouldn't adjust to the different rules. It's not like they wouldn't adjust to what's common in basketball at that time. The fact of the matter is that in the new NBA, you can't defend by punching a guy, which was pretty much the line you went up to back in the day.
I think at least part of the grumbling about how the NBA isn't tough anymore comes down to basic human emotions called jealousy and ego.
I think that's true.
Yep. So those are our thoughts on everything NBA related. Make sure to follow our social media feeds on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for tuning in. Also, this weekend we got our big boys basketball all area package running Sunday. Make sure to check that out and see who made the team and everything like that. We have a lot of fun putting that stuff together. So once again, thank you for tuning in. This is 805 Sports Talk.